Well, I needed to take some time to be the one to tell Holly the truth before she found out from somebody else.
It was. I mean, look, you forgave Eric, right?
Forgave Eric? What do you mean?
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel where I'll be doing another episode recap for today's Daysofourlives, September 5th, 2024. So we see in the first scene where Sarah and Maggie are in the room. Sarah is trying to get adjusted to, life in a wheelchair. She's, having the best attitude, trying to be independent regardless of, the situation. And, she was just finding difficulty, to get onto the bed. Even though she was trying to get onto the bed, Maggie's like, let me help you, don't be stubborn, right? She had difficulty. So Holly was there at the door and she was just looking at Sarah struggling, and she just really feel bad, tried to come in to offer assistance, right? So Holly still feels guilty about what happened to Sarah that night, because she feel like if she didn't go for the key and go over to the cabin to see Tate, none of this would happen to Sarah, and she's just remorseful about it. And she's Sarah's like, you're still blaming yourself. Listen, don't blame yourself for it. The only person that is to blame is the driver, right? It wasn't your fault. But she still feel bad and still beating up herself, and she's like, I still feel guilty. I mean, I shouldn't have done that. So Sarah's like, if you want to feel bad about actually lying about going to the cabin to see Tate, that's fine, but don't beat yourself up about my accident. It wasn't your fault, right? So Holly leaves, and it leaves Maggie and Sarah to talk. And Maggie's like, I wonder where you get your stubbornness from, because you're just a fighter. Like, listen, you're gonna be out of that wheelchair in no time, walking again. And they begin to talk about Victoria's first birthday coming up the next day. And she's just Maggie's just worried that Sarah probably won't be walking next to Victoria when she decides to walk, because she's doing the swimming thing, standing up and all that. So it's it won't be long before she start walking. So she's just like, all right, let me stop talking about that, because it's probably not the most positive news and all that. So Sarah is still like trying to adjust to it all. She's trying to be positive, and she said, what, let me be grateful, because I still have a great husband, a wonderful daughter that amazes me every day. So, I still have a lot to be blessed for, and I'm just going to make the best of the situation, be the best mom, be the best wife that I can be, So we go on to the next scene where we see Xander and Fiona. Xander's asking, if she's adjusting well into the mansion. So she's like, yeah, our bedroom is nice, and the staff is doting. So she is grateful. So Xander's like, I am, thankful to you for just watching over my daughter, just being here for me, being here for Sarah and the baby. And she's like, it's a joy to be here and all of that, right? So as they were talking, Justin comes in. So Justin comes in, asking how Sarah's doing and all that. So, Xander doesn't want to hear it, because, of course, Justin is representing Brady, and he just feels like Justin is the ops right now. So Justin is like, listen, Brady is family, and this is really hard on everybody here, right? And I mean, I couldn't just not defend him. Like, he's a part of the family just as much as you are. And don't forget, like, you did your fair share crime. It was an accident, right? He was not in his right frame of mind. He's not like he intentionally did it, right? And don't forget that you tried to kidnap my wife and all that. And Xander's like, if I could remember you, I wasn't legally represented by you and all of that. So I really don't care. Like, he hit my wife, and I want to see him pay for it. I want to see him locked up for the rest of his life. Like, I have no remorse. So Justin is like, don't forget, you could also catch a charge for strangling Brady, choking him to death. And he's like, listen, I don't care. The next time that I see him, he better be lucky, because the next time I will be breaking his neck. So Fiona was trying to chime in, and Fiona is like, listen, Brady, listen, Xander, just calm down. Like, he has a disease, like he's an alcoholic. And he's like, you don't even know him, so what are you chiming in for? So she's like, listen, I am not taking up for Brady, but he's an alcoholic, I'm an alcoholic. So, listen, just give him, some flack, right? So, Justin leaves to file some paperwork, and he's like, Xander said, I hope, the paperwork get lost for Brady. So Xander is just really in his feelings. And Fiona's like, listen, no matter what I said before, I am for you and Sarah, and I'm sorry for what she's going through. So they decide to go look for Sarah after this. And I'm like, Fiona, oh, you stand there and just like, you just don't care. Like, you're letting this man go to jail for what? Like, I know I'm not a fan of Brady, but come on. Anyways, we go to Marlena and John, and John is on the phone with Belle, and Belle, is just trying to offer some support for Brady. She was gonna, offer to come and represent him, but John already told her that, Justin is all over the case. So anyways, Marlena is just there to comfort John, because John, he's just dealing with his son's case, and he just can't believe that this happened. A lot of people are calling to check in on Brady and him as well, the family. So, he also said that he spoke with his dad about Brady's case, and, his father is just there for him. So, I mean, he's just overwhelmed with everything that's going on. Marlena is just there to really offer comfort at this point, right? So, I'm not going to hold you on this scene. He went to the prison. He went to the interrogation room to check in on Brady, and Marlena offered to be with him, but he said no, I have to just handle it on my own. So we see Tate come to visit his father at the police station, right? So Brady is like, you're coming to tell me that I did wrong, I messed up. So Tate is like, no, I'm just here to really check in on you, all you're doing, because this is a whole lot. So he begins to ask his father like how this really happened, like how he ended up going behind the wheel drunk. So he began to tell him the reason behind it, that he was messed up about Teresa and Alex getting married. He thought him and Teresa was gonna have another chance and all that, so that kind of messed him up. So one drink led to another, and he's just been self-sabotaging, and it ended up in this whole accident, but he just can't really remember the whole details of that night. So he's just feeling bad about himself, and he's just sorry that he messed up, and that Tate could be looking at both parents in jail. So like, I'm like, oh gosh, man, like Tate has a traumatic, he's going through a lot with both parents possibly, well, one incarcerated and another one possibly being incarcerated too. It's a lot on him. So anyways, Tate said he's not gonna walk out on him, because he remember how his dad was there for him with Holly's thing with the drug case, and him going to jail for that and all that. So he's not gonna let up off of his dad. He's gonna be there for him in any way that he can, right? So Brady, he gets another visit from John, right? Remember, John was going to come visit him. So he's asking how he's holding up, and he's just, not in the best shape. So John is like, listen, you don't remember all the details of the night. Like, listen, it's still a lot of factors missing from that. So he's like, I can't remember, but I need to take ownership. I need to take accountability. A woman is in wheelchair. That's enough facts for me. Like, I need to just, plead guilty and all that. So John is advising him not to. And he's like, Kristen wanted me to just run away and not deal with the problem. She got rid of the car. He's like, because John asked, there's no much evidence. Your car is not here. So he did explain that to John, that Kristen had that taken care of, for Rachel's sake. So he's like, I agree, do it for Rachel's sake. So he's like, yeah, I'm thinking about my kids and how, I really messed up and how it's gonna affect them. That's what I'm only thinking about. So John still tried to, dissuade him from actually turning himself in fully for the crime, especially that he doesn't remember the whole, details surrounding it, and he doesn't have all the missing pieces, right? So Justin comes back to the mansion, and Maggie is downstairs, right? So Justin is just asking Maggie a question about, if he should really, how is she feeling about him representing Brady? Because Xander gave him an earful about, being loyal to the family and, just dropping Brady. And he's been, contemplating that now, thinking about it. So Maggie's like, listen, I don't want you to not represent him. Like, I don't hate him. Like, I love him. He's my family. And I'm just disappointed. I'm horrified at how he could have gotten behind the wheel and just hit Sarah and let her, leave her there. So I am just horrified. And I really reached out to him on the day of Teresa's wedding to see if he's okay, if he needs a sponsor, and he just shut me down. Like, if he really was in help, like, I wish he would have just reached out and, called me. So I'm just conflicted about it. And he's like, Justin understands because, the family is divided about, being there for Brady and also, Sarah, right? So it's a tough situation to be in. So Eric is back, folks. Like, I thought he was also leaving like Nicole too on that day, but he came back. He's there to support Brady, and Marlena, catches up with him about Jude, how's he doing in France, and Nicole and all that. So he said they're fine, and they started talking about Brady, and he's like, it's very unfortunate, but he's in no position to really judge Brady because he went behind the wheel and killed Daniel, Holly's father. So he understands the situation that Brady is in, and he's just there to help. He also tells Marlena that he and Nicole also talked, and they think that it's the right time to tell Holly about what happened with her dad, and that he was the one that killed Daniel, right? Because Holly to this day doesn't know, and EJ was about to threaten Eric and Nicole, because of the divorce and all that. He was threatening them that he was gonna tell Holly the real truth about who killed their father. So he did not end up following through with it, but Eric just wants to do it before somebody else gets the chance to tell her, right? So speaking of Holly, Tate and her meets up in the square, and he's telling, she asks how did everything go with his dad, and he's like, it's a lot going on, she's like, yeah, I can imagine, it's rough. So it's like, I feel bad for him. So she took offense and said, feel bad for him. So what about my aunt? Like, she could not get herself into bed today. She's paralyzed. Like, I don't feel bad for him. Like, he's the reason why she's like that. And he's like, listen, he feels bad about this. He's a alcoholic. He has a disease and all that. So she's like, she don't want to hear that because, he should have, made a better decision than to get behind the wheel. So she's not buying it, right? So he's like, listen, like, I have to just, I have to be there for my dad and all that. So she's like, she can't believe he would defend him. So I'm like, Holly, you have to understand that it's his dad. Like, at the end of the day, good, bad, indifferent, he's gonna ride for his dad. Like, his dad was also there for him when you did not stand up for Tate during the whole drug case months ago. So stop it. So anyways, he did say, listen, I have to, like, listen, my dad made a mistake. Like, he didn't intentionally do it. And she's like, listen, after all I told you about my dad being killed by a drunk driver, like, I don't understand how you can put up with this. So he's like, I'm sorry about that. I forgot, and, I mean, you forgave Eric. So then Holly's like, Eric, what you mean by that? And Tate is shocked because he honestly thought that she knew about Eric, but she didn't know. So I guess that bomb drop is going to happen tomorrow. So we go to Fiona, Sarah, and Xander, right? They're in her bedroom. So they begin to talk about, Victoria's party and getting ready for it. And, Fiona's like, I'm happy to be here, for my granddaughter, for you as well. You're like a daughter to me, and I'm just happy to be here. And she's like, yeah, I really appreciate you being here. So they talked about planning Victoria's birthday party, and then, Xander's like, I wish I could have been of more help because, Justin didn't drop representing Brady and all that. And she's like, listen, Brady's family at the end of the day, and regardless of what he did, like, I can't be mad at Justin for doing that. So, he's like, listen, I really don't care about Brady, and Brady needs to just rot in hell for what he did. So Fiona's like, listen, let's talk about something more positive. And that's when they started, continue to talk about Victoria and, Fiona just being there. So at some point, Sarah has a flashback because Fiona said to her she's sorry for the situation she's in, you know, what happened to her, you know, she didn't deserve it. So Sarah had a flashback, you know, blurry flashback of a lady in a car, you know, speeding onwards, right? So I don't know if she remember that it's actually Fiona, but I guess we'll see in tomorrow's episode, guys. So that is it for today. You know, don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe to my channel. Comment below what you thought about today's episode. I will see you tomorrow.